Okay, tonight I'm going to read How Come Christmas by Roark Bradford. Now, this book was written in using the language of the black or the negro religion. The book is actually quite old. It was originally published in 1930. So I hope that you'll enjoy it. And if sometimes I kind of mess up on the language, you'll know that it's difficult to read a bit too. But the story is a good one. The scene. You must imagine a corner in a rural Negro church by the stove. The stove is old and the pipe is held approximately erect by guy wires. But a cheerful fire is evident through the cracks in the stove, and the wood box is well filled. 6 children sit on a bench which has been shifted to face the stove, and the Reverend stands between them and the stove. A hat rack supports sprigs of holly and one plug hat. A window is festooned with holly, long strips of red paper, and strings of popcorn. A small Christmas bell and a tiny American flag are the only store-bought decorations. So how come Christmas? The Reverend. Well, here we is, chillins, and here it is Christmas. Now we all knows we's here 'cause it's Christmas, don't we? But what I want to know is, who's going to tell me how come it's Christmas? Willie says, 'cause old Santa Claus come around about this time of the year, clawing all the good children with presents. That ain't right, says Christine. Is it, Reverend? It's Christmas 'cause the poor little Jesus was born on Christmas. Ain't it, Reverend? Reverend says, well, both of them is mighty good answers. Old Santa Claus do happen around about this time of the year with presents, and the poor little Jesus who was born on Christmas Day. So now the question is, did old Santa Claus start calling children with presents before poor little Jesus got born? Or did little Jesus get born before old Santa Claus started getting around? I bet old Santa Claus is calling children before old poor little Jesus started studying about getting born. Nah, sir, said Christine. The little Jesus comes first, didn't he, Reverend? Well, he said, old Santa Claus is the oldest. I see his pictures, and I seen Jesus' pictures, and old Santa Claus is a heap the older. His whiskers mighty nigh touch the ground. Dahlia says, that ain't right. Old Methuselah is the oldest. Ain't he, Reverend? 'Cause the Bible say, Methuselah was the eldest man of his time. He lived 969, and he died and went to heaven in due time. Methuselah was powerful, old, all right, said the Reverend. Willie said, well, he wasn't any older than the Santa Claus. I bet old Santa Claus got a heap of whiskers. But the poor little Jesus come first. He was here before old man Methuselah, wasn't he, Reverend? Said Christine. Reverend said, he's been here a powerful long time, all right. Willie said, so has old Santa Claus. He got powerful long whiskers. Dahlia says, Moses got a heap of whiskers, too. Reverend said, yeah, Moses was a mighty old man, too. But the point is, how come Christmas gets started being Christmas? Who's going to tell me? 'Cause here it is Christmas, widely everybody happy and rejoicing about, and here us sitting by the stove in the warm church house, talking about it. But ain't nobody got no idea where it came to start being Christmas? Willie says, you can't fool old Santa Claus about Christmas. He know, don't he, Reverend? He just lay around and watch and see how the children's mind they maw, and then first thing you know, he get his mind made up about who been good and who been bad, and then he just hauls off and has himself a Christmas. Yeah, but how come he knows it's time to haul off and has himself a Christmas, says Christine. Well, he says, 'cause any time Santa Claus to make up his mind to have Christmas, well, who's going to tell him? Who's going to stop him? Christine. Then how come he don't make up his own mind in the middle of the winter? How come he don't make up his mind on the 4th of July? Everybody get good around the 4th of July, just like Christmas, so they can go to the picnic. But Santa Claus ain't paying no mind to that, 'cause he ain't in time for Christmas. Is it, Reverend? 'Cause he don't have Christmas on the 4th of July, said Willie. 'Cause there ain't no point in Santa Claus clawing everybody when everybody's going to the picnic anyway. Santa Claus believe in scattering the good stuff out, don't he, Reverend? He say, well, it ain't no point in me clawing folks when they're already having a good time going to the picnic. Maybe I better wait till the dead of winter so it's cold when it's too cold for picnic. Ain't that right, Reverend? Reverend says, Santa Claus do believe in scattering the good stuff out about seasons, Willie, and it ain't sure no point in having Christmas on the 4th of July, 'cause the 4th of July, it's got its own point. And who's going to tell me what the point of the 4th of July is? Old George Washington, they all said, whooped the king and the Eagle Squad and let freedom ring. Reverend said, that's right. And that was in the summertime, so everybody went out and had a picnic, 'cause they were so glad that George Washington whipped that king. Now, what's the point for Christmas? Willie says, oh, Santa Claus. Christine says, the poor little Jesus. Reverend says, well, it seems like old Santa Claus and the poor little Jesus both is mixed up in this thing, from the way the children looks at it. And I reckon y'all is about exactly right, too, 'cause that's how it is. Both of them are so mixed up in it that I can't tell which is which, hardly. There he says, was that before the 4th of July? Christine, 'cause it was. Don't Christmas always come before the 4th of July? No, sir. Hits the 4th of July first, and then hits Christmas. Ain't that right, Reverend? I believe Christine got you that time, Willie. Christmas do come before the 4th of July, 'cause you see it was at Christmas when old George Washington got mad at the king, 'cause the king was going to kill the poor little Jesus. And him and the king fit on Christmas to the 4th of July, before old George Washington finally done that king up. And George Washington whooped that king, didn't he? Said Willie. Reverend says, he whooped the stuffing out of him. He whooped him from Baltimore to Bainal, and then back again. He just done that king up so bad that just naturally put kinging out of style. And ever since then, it ain't been no more kings to mount too much. You see, kings was bad folks. They was mean. They'd druther kill you than leave you alone. You see a king walking down the road, and you better light out across the field, 'cause the king would walk up and chop your head off, and the law wouldn't catch him because he was the king. So all the folks got scared of the king, 'cause they didn't know how to do nothing about it. So everybody went around trying to stay on the good side of him, and all that came of the poor little Jesus, and old Santa Claus got mixed up with Christmas going. You see, one time hit was a little baby born named Poor Little Jesus, but didn't nobody know that was his name yet. They knew he was a powerful, smart, powerful, pretty little baby, but they didn't know his name was the Poor Little Jesus. So, 'cause he was smart and so pretty, everybody thought he was going to grow up and be the king. So quick as that news got spread around, everybody just about get on the good side of the baby, 'cause they figure if they start soon enough, he'd grow up liking them and not chop their heads off. So old Moses went over and gave him $100 in gold. And old Methuselah went over and gave him a diamond ring. And old Peter gave him a fine white silk robe. And everybody was running in with fine presents, so the poor little Jesus wouldn't grow up and chop their heads off. Everybody but old Santa Claus. Old Santa Claus was kinder old and didn't get around much. And he didn't hear the news that the poor little Jesus was going to grow up and be the king. So him and the old lady was sitting back by the fire one night, toasting the shins and talking about this and that, when old Miss Santa Claus up and remarked, she say, Sandy, I hears Miss Mary got a brand new baby over at her house. Is that a fact? Say Santa Claus. Well, it ain't a mighty good cold to do anything like that, ain't it? But on the other hand, he'd be a heap of pleasure and fun for her next summer, I reckon. So the talk went on, and finally old Santa Claus remarked that it was powerful lonesome around the house, since all the children growed up and married off. They all married well, said Mrs. Santa Claus, and I say good riddance. You ain't never had to get up and uh, cure their colic and mend dry their clothes, and you getting lonesome? Me, I love 'em all, but I'm glad they's married and doing well. So they talk a run on that for a while, and then old Santa Claus got up and got his hat. I believe, he said, I'll drop over and see how that baby's getting along. I ain't seen no children so long. I'm pure hungry to lean my eyes up again. A baby. You ain't going out on a night like this, is you? Say Miss Santa Claus. Sure, I'm going out on a night like this, say Santa Claus. I'm pure craving to see some children. But it's snowing and going on, say Miss Santa Claus. You know that the fastic's been deviling you anyway. And you get the Charlie Marbies slopping around in the weather. No mind the task, says Santa Claus. Get me in my umbrella and my overshoes. And you better get me a little something to take along for a cradle gift, too, I reckon. You know I ain't nothing in the house for no cradle gift, said Miss Santa Claus. Get something, said Santa Claus. You got to give a new baby something, or else you got bad luck. Get me one of them big red apples out of the kitchen. What kind of cradle gift is an apple, say Miss Santa Claus? Don't you reckon that baby got all the apples he wants? Give me the apple, said Santa Claus. It ain't much, but one way you looks at it. But I'm the way the baby is going to look at that apple, it'll be a heap. So Santa Claus got the apple and he lit out. Well, when he got to Miss Mary's house, everybody was standing around giving the poor little Jesus present. Fine presents, made out of gold and silver and diamonds and silk and all like that. They had the presents attached around the baby, stacked around the baby so high you couldn't hardly see over them. So when everybody seen old Santa Claus come in, they looked to see what he was bringing. Well, when they seen he didn't bring nothing but a red apple, they all laughed. Quick as that boy grows up and gets to be the king, they told him, he gonna chop your head off. No mind that, said Santa Claus. You'll just stand back. And so he went up to the crib and pushed away a handful of gold and silver and diamonds and stuff and handed poor little Jesus that red apple. Here, son, he said, take this old apple. See how she shines. And poor little Jesus reached up and grabbed that apple in both hands and laughed just as brash as you please. Then Santa Claus tucked and tickled him under the chin with his before finger and say, goody, goody, goody. And the poor little Jesus laughed more and reached up and grabbed a fistful of old Santa Claus's whiskers. And him and old Santa Claus went round and round. So about that time, up stepped the Lord. I swear, old Santa Claus, said the Lord, betwixt that apple and them whiskers, the poor little Jesus ain't had so much fun since he's been born. So Santa Claus stepped back and bowed low and gave the Lord's handy howdy. I didn't know everybody was chivalrying, or else I'd stayed around at home. I didn't had nothing much to bring this time, 'cause you see how that's been this year. The dry weather and the bull weevils got mighty rough all at once, and all the cotton was ruined, and the old lady's been kinder puny. That's all right, Sandy, said the Lord. Gold and silver I have a heap of, but verily you do know how to handle yourself around children's. Well, Lord, said Santa Claus, I don't know much about children's. Me and the old lady raised up 14, but she done most of the work. Me, I just like 'em, and I manages to get along with 'em. You should do get along wild with 'em and with 'em good, say the Lord. It's easy to do what you likes to do, say Santa Claus. Well, said the Lord, it might be something in that too. But the trouble with my world is, ain't enough people which likes to do the right thing. But he likes to do with children, and that's what I needs. So stand still and shut your eyes while I passes a miracle on you. So Santa Claus stood still and shut his eyes, and the Lord reared back and passed a miracle on him, say, Oh, Santa Claus, live forever and make my children happy. So Santa Claus opened his eyes and say, Thank you kindly, Lord. But I do got to keep 'em happy all. Do I have to keep 'em happy all the time? That's a pretty big job. It'd be a heap of fun, but still, and at the same time, well, I knows about childrens too, say the Lord. Children's gotta fret and get in devilment every now and then, and get a whipping from the ma, and else their skin won't get loose and their skin grow. But just keep your eyes on them and make all of them happy at once a year. How's that? That's fine, said Santa Claus. It'd be a heap of fun, too. What time of year do you think I should make 'em happy, Lord? Christmas suit me, said the Lord, if it's okay with you. It's just about right for me, say old Santa Claus. So ever since that day and time, old Santa Claus has been calling the children on Christmas, and that's on the same day that poor little Jesus got born, because that's the way that the Lord runs things. Oh, because the Lord knowed he ain't going to be too long before the poor little Jesus growed up and got to be a man. And when he done that, he growed up, folks, and had him so they'd moan they sins and lay their burdens down on him and get happy in their hearts. The Lord made Jesus for grown-up folks, but the Lord know the children's got to have some fun too. And that's how come Santa Claus and Christmas and all are all at once. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.